Good morning, everybody.
Good, good morning, everybody.
Dennis says he's here, but you can see the screen. So
But Steve is not here.
Steve is not here. Steve has got the crud. So he's real sick.
Sorry, I accidentally met the cleaning lady at the door, and I wasn't expecting to answer the door and do introductions and things like that.
How is Gail?
Gail's fine.
Oh, okay. Well, hey, Jerry, you want to do lineup, or you want to give it to Dennis? We can make Dennis do it.
I'll do it. Good morning, everybody. We got Grandpa Rails, Al Moore, Gerald Stewart, Steve 87, John Dawson, Canadian Locomotive Logistics, Rob T-Man, Mom and Sons Trains, Otter Creek and Rio Grande, Wigwag, John Canafo. I saw Gerald Stewart, Ray Bertelstein, Chris Brew. Steve would always says, "My man, Chris Brew." Lynn McCurdy, Joe Rader. I think we have everybody. I think so. Digger Evans. I see Digger Train Freak Jason popping in.
Well, good morning, everybody.
Dwight Curley, and we're caught up. Good morning,
everybody. Okay. Excuse me. The creep and crud is going around. Oklahoma was one of the hardest hit in the country of reported cases, anyway. I know a lot of my friends have been sick with it. So the wife and I haven't this time around. But yeah, everybody else we know has been sick with it. Steve's had a real high fever yesterday morning, so hopefully he's doing better. Anyway, I don't know what we're going to talk about today. Jerry and I were berating Dennis for not watching the show last week, even though he was sick at home. It's not like he had to do anything but watch,
Yeah, I'll probably watch it today while I'm working on a model.
So we started talking.
I do after this show.
So we kind of started talking about what we talked about last week, and Dennis didn't know anything about it.
Yeah,
but we have educated him since. So anyway,
he'll get caught up.
Yeah. Now we were talking before the show. We got to talking about how the railroads were the lifeline of the country, and why the country kind of boomed like it did, and why they were, because there hadn't any highways and stuff like that. Excuse me. And then the interstate system came along in the 50s and 60s and kind of put the railroads, because I was telling Jerry, even back in the 60s, all the railroads still had passenger service. And interstate kind of killed that. Between the interstate and flying becoming more affordable, it kind of killed the passenger service for the railroads. And then we were also talking about how it kind of killed small towns and stuff like that. So anyway, that's kind of a starting point, I guess, if you want to talk about that sort of thing. But the railroads were very, very important, because it was the only way to get any distance in any short period of time. So for
a shorter period of time.
Yeah. Well, maybe not quite 100 years, but 60, 70 years. That was the shortest way fastest way to get them. Yeah. And, for so long, the last time I rode on a passenger train in Santa Fe, it was in the 60s. It was the mid 60s. And, like I say, all the railroads still have passenger service then. Now, all the interstates were there. Not all the interstates were there. Most of the interstates were there. but still people used the train to travel because flying was so expensive. But as flying became less expensive, that was a quicker way to go.
Even back then, right, when you rode the train, did you get dressed up to ride that train?
I don't know. I wasn't very old. I was probably 5 or
Okay.
6.
Maybe
So
your
I
parents.
don't know.
Yeah.
I don't remember because it was a 3-day trip from
Right.
LA to Fort Worth.
So it wasn't
And
like
so,
a couple hours.
no, it wasn't. No, it wasn't a fast one. But I do remember, and I was telling Jerry this, I do remember when you flew, people that were at the airport were dressed like they were going into church.
Yeah.
And they were dressed in suits and nice dresses and stuff like that. You dressed up to fly. But it was also, part of that was also because it was so expensive. I think it was kind of seen as a luxury.
Right.
And so people tended to dress for that. But, nowadays, oh my God, it's like Walmart.
You mean people didn't wear their pajamas to go do things back then?
No. I go to bed, maybe.
I swear, I see kids, going to school, sitting at the bus stop in their pajamas and their what do you call their little shoes they wear? Bedroom slippers. Going to school.
Oh yeah. Well, and they'll they'll go on an airplane now. Oh, those are loafers.
They're loafers.
That's loafers.
These are my slippers, is what they are.
I'm talking like this.
They are technically slippers.
I see the girls wearing those moccasin type things with the fluffy fur around them and the kitty slippers and big goofy slippers. That's how it is.
Yeah. Steve says buses took out the trolley and light rail.
For sure. Trolleys were everywhere back in the early 1900s. Every little town had trolleys and a bunch of trolleys.
Well, that's because most people did.
That's how they got. That's how they got.
They either walked or rode a horse, or maybe a bicycle, but they didn't have a car. So they went very far. But then on the other hand, like we were saying too, if you went 20 miles from your home back then, that was
a long distance.
A big adventure. Yeah, you didn't go that far from home. People just didn't travel that far. Not on a regular basis, anyway.
And you for sure only did it once a week, right?
Yeah. Or once a month or something like
maybe
that.
Once a month, depending on how far away it was.
I saw Steve Carell. Was that how you pronounce his name? You see him there?
Carell?
Carell, yeah. He looks new. What's ON18? What is that?
18 inches between the rail. That would be like your mine carts. Very much smaller equipment, usually to ferry things to a larger rail system. It's my understanding.
Yeah, Heath, that's what it means. So, Steve, do you have a layout in this ON18? I swear, there's so many scales that I never heard of before.
Well, it's still O scale, right? It's just the equipment ran on 18-inch rail. Like my equipment is still HO, but there's 3-foot distance between the rail heads.
Right. I get it.
Yeah, that's what I figured. It's running on in-scale track. That would be, 18-inch would be, mining rail. You wouldn't have anything very big on 18-inch rail. I think the smallest commercial full-size railroad is the main 2-foot.
A lot of porters, I think, would run on that. If you watch Dave in the Thunder Mesa, you get a real good idea of ON 18, ON 30.
So is a lot of that equipment scratch built? or do people make?
Yeah, it's definitely not. I think Bachman does offer a lot of porters, or maybe a porter. I can't remember. It's
Really?
nothing I really know a lot about, but Bachman does have some stuff that's ready to run. But a lot of it, is in anything in narrow gauge. You tend to have to be creative and build kits and models and things like that.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I've not seen any 18-inch or heard of any 18-inch gauge. There again, quote unquote, full size railroads. The main 2 foot, the main central, I think it's the main central, and the main 2 foot uh, railroads were the largest, or the smallest gauges that I saw that ran big equipment. And I don't know that the equipment was even all that big to be on 2 foot rail, but I did see 2 foot rail when we went to Maine. It was right there by the dock, and yeah, it's 2 foot. It's 2 foot across,
Right.
but the rail looked like it was out of proportion to the gauge because it was so it was regular height, but it was so much closer together that it looked really really strange. Now I don't think there was any equipment sitting on it when we walked by, but I can't imagine the equipment being any bigger than what you would see on a 3 foot gauge.
So, Steve, you don't have any videos on your channel? How about putting up some videos of your layout or whatever you have? It'd be pretty cool to see it.
Yeah, it would be.
Yeah. What's up, Bernard? Container Man, Heath, Hi. What's up?
Yeah,
Welcome.
3D printing's really helped a lot in the
Yeah.
off-size equipment and stuff.
Yeah, it's like opened up a whole new world out there, right?
Oh yeah. Well, and then it's a hobby in itself, I think. I think there's some guys that do 3D printing just to see what they can make.
Yeah.
Which is, just a hobby in itself.
Yeah, there's a lot of guys that are 3D printing cabs just for, mechanisms. Hey, I think I mentioned this before. Do either of you guys happen to watch Ray Brown, the Bessemer in Lake Erie?
I don't think so.
I don't even know if I've heard of that before.
He recently did like a 3 or 4 video series on taking the mechanism of a Broadway Limited, I think it's a 210-4, I can't remember, and then taking another older brass locomotive and then kind of creating a Frankenstein of 3D parts, brass parts, and then the mechanism from this Broadway Limited to come up with a Bessemer and Lake Erie prototype that I guess if I understood right, the brass prototype is offered, but it doesn't run well.
Right.
And so he was on this mission to get a prototype that looked the part, but offered completely trouble-free operation, and he knocked it out of the park. Did a really good job. The entire front end is 3D printed. He 3D printed multiple other parts, I think, for the back end, like a whole new boiler detail in the cab. I think he put some people inside of it, the engineer and the fireman. Just a really great effort on his part.
So is this an articulated engine, or is it just the one mechanism?
No, that was one of his complaints about the brass version. And I think we've talked about it before. On a brass engine, your drivers have very little slop in them, and that's the biggest reason why they can't navigate tighter radius curves, is because the front end, your first driver and then your last driver, especially on a 210-4 or whatever, they have to be offset from each other quite a little bit to negotiate a curve. And if they can only offset that much going around a curve, you're going to bind. Well, the Broadway Limiteds, they've got more slop in the drivers going back and forth, and so therefore they run better. The appropriate parts that need to be plastic that won't short out against the frame are plastic, just like with the Blackstones. What he did was really impressive in my opinion. And I'm a steam guy, so anyone that's doing stuff in steam, particularly in kind of my era, I'm always interested in seeing what they're doing.
Interesting.
And his railroad is fantastic as well.
My hat's off to guys that can do that kind of stuff. It's like Shannon, the stuff that Shannon does. I'm like, that's fascinating. I would never try to attempt it because I wouldn't be good at it. But it's really cool to see somebody that can do that kind of stuff,
especially in scale. I think the Narrowgauge Gazette featured an in scale layout. I think it was either this month or last month. That's in narrow gauge 3, in 3.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah, in 3.
And I'm like, when you first looked at it, you really have to look pretty hard to figure out that it's in scale.
Yeah. Shannon built an N3 loco. It was a kit.
Mm-hmm.
I know how small HON3 is. I'm sure not going to go in. Heart in Memphis wants to know what scale what you're running, Dennis. I guess he hears it in the background.
I've got a K27 pulling a couple passenger cars around the layout right now.
Yeah. What was that guy's name again?
Ray Brown. The name of the channel is Bessemer and Lake Erie.
Bessemer and Lake Erie. Okay.
I believe.
I have to look that up. Yeah.
One of these days, I'll try and get him on the channel. I just haven't. I don't know. I guess I'm not brave enough to ask someone who I think is might turn us down for whatever reason. His layout is nice.
Well, ask him because I got Dave Ballmer on here, and I was watching that show that we did with Dave Ballmer a couple of years ago. I'd love to get him back on. He was such a gracious guest and very friendly guy. I'd love to be able to go up and meet him in person. But yeah, call him or get a hold of him, see if he wants to be on. The worst he can say is no, or are you kidding?
What's this channel's name? Do you know? Is it Ray Brown?
Erie, I believe.
Bessemer and Lake Erie.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that goes for anybody in chat that, guys, if you want to come on the show, just let us know.
His address is Bessemer and Lake Erie in HO scale 6061. I will.
Bessemer and Lake Erie.
Yeah.
Dennis is HON3, so HO narrow gauge.
Yeah, that's what I model. He's standard gauge. The guy we're talking about, he's standard gauge.
Oh, there's two of them on there. No wonder.
Yeah, I think there's more than one, but there you go. That's
it
the
right
correct
there.
one.
Heath had it on there too, but I was trying to do one. I didn't see Heath, and it kept popping back and forth. Hold on, I gotta get it on here. Anyway,
ask him.
I will.
Well, I mean, his channel is not that. Your channel is just as big as his.
Well, I mean, maybe as far as subscribers go, but look at his railroad.
Look at your railroad.
yeah.
What does somebody's railroad have to do with? Don't be intimidated by him. It's okay. You're worthy. You're worthy.
Dennis, size doesn't matter.
Yeah. You're worthy.
Don't believe Gail. Size doesn't matter.
Yeah, I mean listen. I mean, this hobby is for everybody, whether you have a layout on a piece of grass mat, and you're just running trains around a loop, or you have some super complex railroad. Everybody is welcome on the show. I mean, if you want to show your railroad, talk about it. Just
Well,
drop us a
speaking,
line.
talking about whether or not size matters, take the time saver.
Yeah.
Dennis's time saver is a work of art, and it was a blast to run. It was a blast to run it,
Yeah.
and it's not anything more than going back and forth and switching out cars and stuff. But I had a blast doing that.
Yeah.
I had never really done that before in that kind of context, but that was a lot of fun.
Now you can build a train in Frying Pan and work Maroon Creek, work Frying Pan, and come back.
Yeah,
it's fun.
Yeah.
Right
now that it's incorporated in the rest of the layout, it's even better. But it was fun. It was fun when it was just 8 foot long. It was a lot of fun.
So go ahead, finish doing what you.
Well, and then he did such a good job on scenery and stuff on it, detailing it out. So that always adds to the immersive quality of a layout. So that's why I think a lot of guys strive to have a railroad that's got really good scenery and good detail and stuff in it, because it does jump the immersive effect tenfold, in my opinion. But it doesn't mean you can't have fun running oval on a grass mat.
No, you can have just as much fun. Like Dennis, like you're switching layout, Frying Pan. Is that what it is?
Well, the time saver.
The time saver, right? That in itself is like, that could be somebody's layout. It's so much going on there. Same thing. Like I'm looking at videos for wiring, and one of Heath's old videos came up from 3 years ago with his time saver. So I'm starting to watch that. I mean, I watched it 3 years ago, but it's like it wasn't something that I wanted to do. So I watched it, and that was it. I didn't retain anything from it. So now I'm trying to get information from it. So it's like that in itself was a great little thing that he did. Like, I mean, it was
like Dave Vollmer's layout. Now he's another fantastic modeler, and he does the Colorado Southern, which is widely modeled.
I thought he did the RGS. He's Rio Grande Southern.
Oh yeah, Rio Grande Southern. I'm sorry, that's right, Rio Grande Southern, which is widely modeled, but it's a mountainous railroad. His is all one level, and yet it's not real big, and yet it's a fabulous little layout that he built. And you can still have a good time with something that's not multi-level or huge. It doesn't have to be as big as Dennis's or something like that. It can be a lot smaller.
So, Steve, I don't know what you're asking for, the email for this show, or I don't know. So, Steve Sherrill had commented, I wish you guys could show photos. Well, you will be able to, because Back on Track is going to start a Facebook group. So you guys can go over there, join the group, and share your videos on your layouts and photos of whatever you're working on your layout. Everybody can get to see what you're doing, and it'll be a cool thing.
Yeah, it'll be a closed group. It'll
be a private group. You get the link. You get a link. And, join. So it'll be easy. But if you're on Facebook, we'll have a Facebook group for Back on Track. Steve, the Back on Track email. Oh yeah, put the Back on Track email somewhere. There you go.
There it is.
Yeah, I mean, if anybody wants to be on the show, email.
Yeah, send an email. Now, also be aware that I don't get in there every day.
Yeah.
I usually don't get in there till the end of the week. So
Yeah, if you don't hear
Let
back,
me give you another email where you
if you
can email me directly.
if you don't hear back from Claude, don't think we don't want you on the show because he just hasn't.
That'll be another advantage of the Facebook page. Would be you can throw up there, hey, sent you an email.
Yeah.
Your email occasionally.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you go to that that's wrong email. I can't spell my own name.
Can't even spell your own name.
Well, that's what happens when you hunt and pack as a packer.
Will you have to give your life history to get in? No, you just, there's going to be a question. What do you model? Because there's a lot of trolls out there that
prove you're actually a model railroader.
Prove you're actually a modeler. That's it. Don't,
That's actually this will be a better email to get a hold of me and we get you on the show.
If the question is, what scale do you model? Don't say yes. Okay. Because you're not getting in. There's a lot of trolls out there. There's a lot of people that scam Facebook groups. And so, there's going to be a couple questions. It's not going to be, I don't want your life history. And who's going to moderate it? We all are going to moderate it. So everybody's involved with the show will be administrated to it. So it's not like,
Well, Harley, thank you. I think all of us do it for the same reason. We like doing it. I know I do it. For me, it's a social hour or two. So I enjoy it for that aspect, but I also enjoy the community and everybody that's here and the content of what we try to put out. We try to be kind of lighthearted with it and not get too serious, but then discuss the hobby. And the Facebook group is going to be another avenue.
that could be a good thing too, Lynn, being in bed still. It's kind of early for you.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it's 7:30. You can get up. So anyway, no, Dave, we're not giving up on the show to do Facebook. Facebook will be in addition to this. We'll still do the show.
Yeah, it's just a group.
It's just a place for people to share their going to be a place for them to show photos of their layout or what they're working on.
Because there's people that ask, do you have a group? If you're not on Facebook, that's fine. You don't have to join Facebook just to join the group. I mean, it's for those people that are on Facebook that want to share what they're doing. It's a way that they can share, ask questions over there, get other people involved, helping everybody out. It's just another way to help modelers out. That's it.
Yeah, that's all it's going to be. So we'll still be here. And Dave, by the way, you missed last week. Mark was here bashing you.
Yeah, he was talking.
You weren't here to defend yourself.
Yeah, it's rough.
But anyway, yeah, that was, and I hope everybody saw Dennis's premiere the other night on his BoxCar that he's finished. What do you got some more ready to go, don't you, Dennis?
Well, so yes and no. Let me get one. So these three cars are cars that I purchased. So they've probably been on the layout for 2.5, 3 years. Some of them, I don't know if it'll show up here. I didn't paint these, nor did I build them. These were already built, already the color that they were. And like this particular car, you can see how thickly the paint was applied on it. Like nearly all of the wood detail completely gone on this car. So all three of these cars, I just like I'm not going to try and do anything else to them. I'm going to put decals on them and then weather them and just let them be on the railroad. So if I don't have the other one, but you'll notice that I've got a slightly different decal for the logo. So there's no color in this one. So all of the 100 series will have this particular decal. And then the 300 series is what the previous one, the one that I did the premiere on, that has the has a black triangle that pops out a little bit better. You know, just kind of, you know, this is a different thing they did. This one was the best of the three. They actually applied the paint decently, but like, you know, there's no stirrup steps. They applied no grab irons on the back. I debated on going ahead and putting grabs on them. I still might. I ordered a bunch of grabs from Tichy. I don't know. We'll see. I may or I may not, because I don't really care. They run around the layout from 3 feet away. You don't even notice they don't have grab irons, right? Unless you get right up on it. You know, there's the layout as you're running it, as you're observing it from the aisle, operating, and then there's, I'm going to take a picture of this. These are not picture worthy, but they're absolutely operation worthy. They came, the one good thing about these is they all came with Blackstone trucks on them. There's no weight in them at all. But so that's the only reason they run is because they've got good Blackstone trucks on them. Otherwise, they probably wouldn't run at all because they're not heavy enough.
I think a lot of people in the hobby are guilty of doing things because they want to do them, not necessarily for people to see. You know what I mean? Detail-wise. There's a lot of things that, you know, I'm painting a building now. You'll never see detail that I'm painting. But I'm doing it because I want to do it. Right?
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah,
so
you know.
We should all be guilty of doing things because we want to.
Yeah, that's the whole reason for having the hobby in the first place.
There's things that really, like, you'll never see, and you do it. Like, you spend time doing it, right?
Yeah,
You'll
like,
never notice it.
You know it's there.
Well, you know it's there.
Yeah,
right?
like,
That's the key. You know it's there. Doesn't matter if anybody else knows it's there.
yeah, like
Exactly.
they didn't paint the bottoms of the cars at all, and then I think one of these I did go ahead, like this one, I did go ahead and paint the underside, and I probably will do the other two eventually. My plan is to keep kind of like 3 or 4 of these going at all times, just work on them a little bit at a time during the week, and eventually, you know, maybe I'll have enough cars for a whole Otter Creek train.
Yeah, here's 2 true statements right here. You know, most
Absolutely.
interiors will never be seen, but how many people still do that? And the reason they do it is for that reason right there. It's the enjoyment of doing it. And I've had a blast putting detail on my layout. To me, that's been a complete departure from the train aspect of it and getting into the real life aspect of it, which, you know,
And if you know,
there again, to me, it just makes the immersive effect so much better.
like, if you look at those things that you do, they are skill builders, right? They're skill builders for you for the next thing that you do.
Yes.
People might see, right? It's like you keep building your skills, whether or not people see it or they see it. You know, it's just good for you. You know, it's good for you mentally. It's good for you physically. It's just good. You know, you can go to your model bench and work on stuff, and you just lose track of time because, like, you're just focused on doing this thing, and everything else is like doesn't exist. It's like it's a good thing for you.
Harley Dennis has that same problem. And Lynn probably has an even worse problem with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we keep saying this, but that's, your layout is yours and you build it
Yeah.
for you. Otherwise, it's a job. And
Yeah,
when it
like
becomes a job, then
Almar
it's not
said
good.
he just bought some scale lumber, and it's like, yeah, man, when I started building things and using scale lumber, it was like, man, that little 2x4, I could barely see it. Yeah, it's crazy how
Well, the other thing you have to remember too, Al, is especially depending on what scale you're in.
yeah,
If you're an HO narrow gauge
yeah,
or HO in general, you can get by with bigger than scale lumber for what you want to do because it's so small. Um, nobody's going to get down there with a ruler and measure it, and they're not going to be able to tell by eye most of the time, as long as they're not way out of kilter with it. Not using a 4x12 for a piece of trim around the window or something. But you can
Yeah,
get by with that.
I think three by material in HO works well, and if for no other reason, and that's probably what closer to the actual size that they used, depending on the area you're building. Like I know if I go over here and actually measure the lumber in this grain elevator that's across the street, it actually measures what the dimensions called for back then. That is old lumber, and it was sometimes bigger than.
Oh yeah, 2x4s were 2 inches by 4 inches. They haven't been that
or
for
possibly bigger
years.
Because I know they have a bunch of period structures over at the prison that I used to work at, which was historic Fort Supply, built in I don't know how long it was there, but for sure in the 1880s. And all of the wood in those buildings are just, it's there. Bigger than.
Well, a lot of that stuff is in the rural areas, especially, and then say in the mountains where they were mining and stuff. All that lumber was rough
cut. Yep.
Some of it wasn't even sawed; it was all just either split or cut by hand. It wasn't sawed on a sawmill; it was cut by hand a lot of times. So, yeah, it's not going to be. You go up there and look at some of those old mines, and you'll see wood going, wow, this has got like a truckload of lumber for, if you went to Home Depot now, and got a truckload of lumber, this piece of wood, this one beam has as much wood in it as you could put in a truck, pickup truck now. And it's just massive stuff that they use. So, yeah, it's you can get by with that depending on what you're modeling and what area it is.
yeah.
But like for me, for Dennis and I, being older era, and then also in the area of Colorado, that's very normal. So we can get by with it a little bit better. In fact, I've used scale lumber and go, that you can't even see that. And I'll go to a bigger piece so you can see it. In fact, like here, I think one of the last things I did on the layout up there was I have the tram house has a tar paper roof on it. And I thought, the tar paper roofs that I saw up in Colorado all had lumber on top of them, vertical pieces coming down to hold them down, to keep them from coming loose. And so I added some of that. Well, I added 2x4 material, scale 2x4, you couldn't see it. So what's on there now is probably like 4x12, but it looks much better. So you kind of have to go with what looks good from where you're standing also than what the actual measurement is. And that's where I think when you talk about prototype versus freelance, that's where you detract. And do it with nobody even realizing that's what's happening. Is that difference in perspective? So who else has got a question in here? Okay. What are they talking about?
I don't know.
Roy and Lynn are talking about something.
Yeah.
Why taking down old buildings is real hard. The market is huge, so they carefully take them apart. That's true, Steve. I've seen some beautiful, beautiful floors out of
Yeah.
old baggage buildings or freight buildings off of railroads
Yeah.
because the lumber was so big they could come in and plane it down, and it was still bigger than what you can buy in the store now.
Yep.
And it's just gorgeous wood because it's been used, and it's got that patina to it. It really looks good.
They don't grow that stuff anymore.
No, that kind of wood's long gone,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Yep.
Because I guarantee you, from years down the road, nobody's going to tear out a house built nowadays and go, "Oh, we got to save this lumber."
But somebody might.
I doubt it because it's the lumber now is more like balsa wood than the lumber back in the 50s and 60s.
Yeah, but there's a lot of people that don't know what real wood is either, too. So.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. If you don't work with it, you don't come across it.
Speaking of lumber and wood, I did complete a project yesterday. If you guys are interested,
get it out here, man. Well, you got it right there with you. Okay.
I don't know how well it's going to show up.
A little rack there, nice. That's good.
The little rolling table. There you go.
So, can you hear me still?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, all of this, let me move that so I can kind of get it a little closer here. So, this area is just overflow from my workbench. So, if I need to set something here that I'm not needing right now, I can have a place to put stuff in addition to the other places I have to put stuff. And then all like here, this is all my scrap plastic, my scrap wood. I've got a couple different, like this, the sanding thing. I forget who makes that, Micro Mark or something like that. I've got the chopper, my blocks. I tried to get some of the stuff that was taking up space in my workspace over here. And then the underneath side, I've got the longer wood strip. I've got plastic strip, half round, quarter round, those kind of things all underneath there. I've got like all of my Tichy windows, Grant line windows, corrugated siding, roofing material, other stuff underneath. So everything's kind of within arm's reach. And then if I'm through modeling for the day, I just
slide it back under.
Yeah.
put it back.
It's perfect for keeping your workspaces clear. Right?
Yeah, and the other thing is I've also got, just for me, I've got other pieces of plywood. Like I've got one piece of plywood that's probably 18 inches by a foot, give or take. That's just for my track building or track laying equipment. I can pick that up and carry it with me anywhere I go on the railroad, set it down next to me, either on my roll around work caddy or on the layout next to me if there's space, and have everything there. And then I can put it up if I go on to something else. That's kind of modular, I guess, is a cool way of saying that, just trying to keep things organized. And the only problem is I've got some tools that I need to do this and that. So one of the things I'm slowly trying to do is some key tools I'd like to have more than one of, just so I don't have to walk back and forth. Well, where did I've got like 4 hobby knives now. Hobby knives is not a problem, but there are other things that,
like tape measures. You have a
Well,
bunch
I've
of
got more than
statements.
one tape measure. I'm trying to think of a good example of
a lot of
something
redundancy, you know.
that I always seem to need like drill bits, I would say is one thing. I've got multiple drill bits. I like to keep the specific drill bit in a brace bit that I need so I don't have to change out. I'm kind of close to having that the way I want, but I probably need 3 or 4 more.
But like anybody
I would
could
like
do
to
that.
have. Yeah.
Anybody could do this. You got all this open space under your layout. Put something under there. Shelving, a cart. There's anything that you can adapt to fit your space. I mean, you made something purposely for you. Sometimes, yeah, you gotta do something.
Problem with that, Jerry, is all the crap that I drop when I'm working on the railroad is under there. Somewhere under there. I can't find it, but it's under there somewhere.
It's under there somewhere.
No, it is a good place to store stuff or put extra things, even if it's empty boxes, you know, engines or cars or something like that.
I'm going to get a lot of flack by saying this. Like, your layout shouldn't be a place that you store stuff, right? Your workbench shouldn't be a place that you store stuff. It should be what you're working on, right? If you have other spaces for those things, it won't take you 20 minutes to clear your layout off to work on it when you only got an hour to do it. So, like, put stuff away.
That's a very,
it's like you waste a lot of
profound statement. If I have to spend 45 minutes clearing the space that I want to work in before I can begin working, to me, that's working backward. That's why I like to have things, ready to go, because if I look at something and it's like a complete disaster, the chances of me actually being productive and making the decision to go to work on it, it seriously goes downhill. That's why in my workbench, in my opinion, is a disaster most of the time.
Right.
And so I try and make it to where I have a clean workspace. If I have a clean workspace, I have much more motivation to begin the project than if I have to start, oh God, I'm going to have to clean that up before I even start. I think I'll run a train instead.
Where's Mike McCarville this morning? You've seen his bench. It looks like a hospital operating room.
A different level of insanity. I don't know how he does that. There's something up here that's a little off. Nobody's stuff is that clean. I'm sorry. I don't think he's actually built any of those structures he shows. I think contracting out to a real modeler, and then he
just gets the pictures, right?
He's pretending to be the modeler that he says he is. I just don't buy it. Sorry.
So in my woodworking business, my shop used to be 1,800 square feet.
Woo.
And it was a cluttered mess, right? I would spend 20 minutes looking for something, whether it was a tape measure, a tool, something. Like, you waste so much time of your day looking for things, right? Because you got all this space to put it.
Yeah.
And it's easy to just plop it down. How many times you plop something down and forget where it is?
Okay, you've done it to me. I'm going to have to go show you my bench.
And then once you confine yourself to a smaller space, you have to be organized. It is true. And it's so much nicer. So Steve says space is at a premium. I agree, but you need to use all your space. Those little spaces like Dennis has under his layout. Use it. Don't put curtains up there and like hide it and like.
I think most people do. I think it's the level of what kind of organizations organizational do I have to make use of to do it?
Yeah.
But then I wanted to do this for a year now, and just finally went ahead and, hey, it was going to be like 50 degrees today. I just went ahead and did it because I've got a big project I'm getting ready to start, and I wanted plenty of space to do it.
Yeah.
Okay, you guys ready for this? Nobody
Yeah.
have a heart attack now.
Yeah. I mean,
That's
so
my workbench right now.
for you to do anything, it's like a task just to clear you a spot.
Yeah.
Well, it's normally not like this. I have to admit,
I'm not
this is storing stuff.
But I guarantee you that's what a lot of people's layouts look like and workbenches look like.
And that's okay.
Oh yeah, I have no doubt.
If
It's
some
okay.
people do well in that kind of
It's
environment,
okay.
some
Yeah,
people do.
it's okay. But
Well, the thing is, when I'm working on something, this area right here will be clear because that's where I'm working.
right.
Now, all of this will be laying there, but I
Yeah.
know where everything is for sure.
Yeah, you know where most things
Yeah,
are.
everything's on the table somewhere.
Somewhere.
Yeah. But this is a little more cluttered than normal because I'm been cleaning the shop some. So you can see this bench is not normally like this either. It is a real mess right now.
Yeah,
But
it's okay.
I'm cleaning to get rid of this thing. This was the bench that I used to build airplanes on, and it rolls on the floor just like the one you showed, Dennis. It's just taller, and I put a couple of drawers in it. But
Yeah, I've got two.
This is going to be coming out of here.
Those in my shop that tuck underneath my radial arm saw table. I love them. Best thing I ever did.
It's a good way to be organized and mobile.
Okay, and Dennis, here you go. All the label kits that I've got. Now, some of these are I've got a
Those
bunch.
are all narrow gauge.
Binkley, all these are narrow gauge. Everything stacked here is narrow gauge. So I've got way more than I'll ever use.
What's in
and now,
Claude, what's in those boxes are kits and not built?
Yes, most of them are kits. Now there may be one or two that are built. Now all the micro trains, of course, are built.
Yeah,
these are micro trains here. Then I like these little kits here. I've not built one yet, but I'm anxious to. This is a Alamosa car shops.
Cool.
And you can see the body of it is mainly there. And it's got the trucks and everything with it. And I've got 2 or 3 of these, and I picked all this stuff up off of Amazon. Not Amazon, eBay.
Are these companies still around, or they don't exist anymore?
I don't think so. Some of them, like Durango Press, I think still is. I got some of that stuff. But most of them are not. I do have a few Blackstone, but not very many because they're so cotton picking expensive anymore.
Yeah, Joe Reader.
Most of these are that. Then I've got a box full of couplers and even bigger box of that is full of narrow gauge Central Valley trucks.
Wow.
And other trucks. There are some other stuff in here too, but most of it's Central Valley trucks. So Dennis, if you need some trucks,
man,
I got some.
You could have a little.
Are those Central Valley trucks? Are they good trucks? Are they the 7-foot?
They're all metal trucks. Yeah, they're all metal trucks. The only thing they don't have is they don't have like brake detail and stuff on them. Let me get one of them out of here for you. I can do this one-handed.
It's not necessarily a deal breaker for me.
But yeah, they're metal wheels. They're sprung.
Oh,
do they come with the mounting screws as well, or?
No, they do not. And that's not a very big hole, and don't want to try and drill it out. I tried that. It doesn't work very well. But they're really nice. They're good and heavy, and they roll really, really well. And I just bought them as I could find them on eBay. And I found one guy.
I've never been able to find any. I've looked, but I've never found any.
I found one guy selling like 3 or 4 dozen. There's a whole box full of them.
Holy cow.
Dennis, you haven't found because Claude has them all.
Yeah.
Apparently. Somebody's
all
been out
these
there
are,
on eBay making it difficult for all of us.
I bought all these many moons ago. But yeah, it's in anticipation of building a layout and all that good stuff. And I just started buying it all. Not all of it, but some. But anyway, yeah, the bench is messy, but that'll change here for too long.
Yeah, you'll change.
Yeah.
So I was at Joe Rader's layout, visited him. His workshop's all organized. He says every place has a thing. And that's I know some people don't want to be organized. It's hard to be organized. But listen, I went from chaos to total organization, and not 100% organization, because I still have chaos. But you can do it. I'm just telling you can do it.
I think chaos during a project is going to happen no matter what you do.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It's just a matter of managing the chaos so that you can still be productive. That's kind of the key for me.
Yeah,
like you were talking about losing something. Every day, without fail, when I go to work on something, there will be, like, I bought a whole package of pencils just so I could scatter them around everywhere because I can never find a pencil when I want one. So I need to buy 4 packages a month.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter. I will have a pencil in my hand. I will do something I need to do with it. And then when I turn around, I can't find my pencil. It just evaporates. I probably have 20 in this room, and I think this is the only one I can find right now.
They make little clips that you can put on yourself that have little retractable strings that have pencils.
That would be a whole level of nerd that I achieve.
So, because come sliding back up at him and slap him in the side of the head.
I love that. Little pencil.
It's a good thing, man. Bam, pull it out, let it go.
Need a pocket protector to go with it.
It's okay.
Well, how many times, Dennis? That part of that's age, though. That's not necessarily being neat; it's age.
I agree.
Because how many times have you been working on something and you go, "I need this tool," and you turn around to get it and you can't find it, and you look for half an hour, and you've got it in your hand the whole time? That's just age.
I can't swear that I found it in my hand, but I will literally lose something.
I have.
Listen. Container Man says, stick it in your hat or in your ear. There have been times I've been in my shop. I'll have my glasses up here, right? And I'll be looking for my glasses. Like, where'd I put them? And it's like, here they are, stupid.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's
or you look at the item that you're looking for, and you passed over it 15 times, going back and forth on your bench looking for it because you know it's there, but it's sitting at a different angle than you've got than the picture in your head, and so you don't recognize it. I've done that too.
Getting old,
but that's just getting older. Yeah.
Getting old sucks.
I started saying I've done that with a pencil, but I did have it stuck over my ear.
Yeah.
Well, where's that pencil at?
And I don't know if I mentioned, but the rollout workbench, 100% scrap wood.
Yeah, scrap. Yeah. It doesn't have to be. Who cares what it looks like?
Mine wasn't, but then I built it to build on and stuff, and not really hammer on, but I did a lot of sanding on that and stuff like that. So
eventually,
I'll be sturdy.
I just don't know. I'll probably wait until I see where the fascia is going to go to make a decision on what color to paint it. I'll probably paint it black.
You'll fix it up if you want to, and if not, who cares? Yeah. It serves a purpose, right?
You paint it to match your fascia, whatever you put on the fascia board.
I'm pretty sure the fascia is going to be black.
That's what I chose.
Or a very dark complementary color to the layout.
Yeah, dark green works well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think a good dark color gives you a good contrast, and it makes your eye go to the layout, to the lit part of the layout versus looking at the fascia board.
Yeah, you don't want something that sticks out and draws your attention.
Yeah. That's our hour, guys.
Our fascia will make the whole layout look like it's floating in space.
Yeah. Cosmic.
That's the gummies you've been eating. That does that. Now you've been watching the intro to your premieres too much. That may be it too. Anyway, that's our hour, guys. Thanks for being here. Dennis and Jerry, thank you for being here. Steve, get better, man. And take it easy because you're old, Steve. So take it easy.
Yeah, you're
and
old.
everybody in chat, have a good rest of your weekend and a good week. And yeah, we'll see you back here. I wasn't going to be here next week, but we had to postpone it because of the weather that's coming in. So I will be here next week. So we're good to go. We'll be back next week.
Have a good week.
Then.
See you.
Bye bye.
Yeah, take care.
Yeah, we